My eyesight corrected itself until I realized I wasn't wearing my glasses. For a bit of context, my eyesight is horrible. Even half a foot in front of my face is nothing but blurry color. Yesterday my mom and brother picked me up to go to an appointment. I was running a little late, so did not have time to put my contacts in, do my makeup, and was getting ready on the drive. So while mom was driving, I was in the passenger seat with the mirror down. I took off my glasses to apply my eyeshadow. My brother, who was sitting behind me, asked me a question, and I turned to look back at him. When I turned my head back around, I quickly finished my eyeshadow and shut the mirror. I was looking out my window at the farmland just off the road and thinking how beautiful it was when I suddenly realized that I hadn't put my glasses back on. They were sitting on the dashboard. As soon as I had the realization, my perfect vision went back to being just blurred colors. It was instant, like flipping a switch on my sight. It was so shocking that I yelled, "Holy poop!" My outburst startled my mom and brother. So I told them what had just happened, and they said they believed me, but couldn't think of a rational reason for it. We tried to figure it out for the rest of the drive, but honestly couldn't. TBH. If there's some secret to magically fixing my eyesight that I accidentally stumbled upon, then I wish I could find it again. Rationally speaking, the brain naturally corrects a lot of things relating to eyesight. Just like how everyone's image they perceive is naturally flipped by the brain, so it looks normal to us. So it's completely possible that your brain was correcting your eyesight completely by itself for a split second. Just a theory. That could be what happened. What's so strange to me is that it wasn't just a few seconds where I could see. I was looking out the window for at least a full minute, maybe two, before I realized. The switch back to crappy sight was instant. Lol.
There's magic in being in the present, enjoying the moment in all its simple pleasures. I have no answer for you, just that thought. Thanks for sharing.
Hi, there is magic in being in the present, enjoying the moment in all its simple pleasures. I have no answer for you, just that thought. Thanks for sharing. I'm Dad.
I went to an optometrist years ago who used color therapy to make vision better. I sat in a dark room and looked at colored discs of light. Then we would talk for a while about how I felt. Once he gave me an eye test right after the treatment, and I tested 20/20, which was not my regular vision. He felt that vision was related to what we allowed ourselves to see. I experimented with wearing no glasses for distance at the time, even going to work without them, and it felt better and better. I did wear them for driving. He said I should get a prescription 10% weaker than normal, and that eyeglasses were like crutches for eyes. But the eye getting weaker as glasses got stronger. Yes. Very weird. But I kept my RX at that lower level. Now that I am older, my near vision is not so good. But my distance is really good. And I do not wear my glasses often. I never got bifocals. I have heard that distance vision does improve with age. The Dr. Followed a guy whose name I forget, who has written books on light and vision. That's my experience. I moved out of state, so lost touch with the eye doc. Jacob Lieberman is the natural vision improvement guy.
The answer is in the book, The Spontaneous Healing of Belief, by Greg Braden. He would say you suspended your disbelief in that time you saw without your glasses. His teachings depend on the suspension of disbelief. He says it is the same thing that gets a mother to lift a car to save her kid. In that split moment she suspended her disbelief in her ability. It is when you do not have limiting thoughts.
Oh, that's really interesting. I'll have to find a copy of it. Thanks.
I have astigmatism. And every once in a while when I rub my eyes after being in the shower or just getting up in the morning, my vision is slightly corrected for a few moments. Your eye muscles might have been either very relaxed or very tense for a minute, and your eyes suddenly changed shape. Then when you realized you weren't wearing your glasses, the muscles went back to their normal state, and reshaped your eye back to needing glasses again. I remember years ago hearing about a vague theory that suggested people with astigmatism could fix it themselves with exercises, but I never bothered looking into it, because at the time I did not wear glasses. And these days it is damn near impossible to find anything really specific on Google. I got a book years ago called Relearning to See, Improve Your Eyesight Naturally, by Thomas Quackenbush. It pretty much goes into what you've mentioned, and talks about the base method of improving your sight. It's a very, very in-depth book, and can get pretty technical, and complicated at times, but it definitely had helped me out. Very interesting stuff too.
What is causing your eye issues? That's the real question, because the way your brain processes images is only half the function. The other half is input, and if your eye's croaked, there's no explanation.
That's what I was thinking too.
It could be that if it is a familiar road you've driven on before. You've mentally pictured it with the clarity from before, but the moment you realized you weren't wearing glasses, the reality set in.
This is only tangentially related. But it is sort of similar and might help explain things. Sometimes when it is really dark and I haven't seen light in a while, my mind will sort of create an image I see based off of the slightest shadow, and what I perceive the shadow to be. I've very clearly seen trees in the woods and pieces of furniture indoors that weren't actually there. Or were further away, or closer than I expected. Of course this was in the dark. So I did not see color. Just shadows and highlights. When you really look at what your eyes are doing when you look at something, they have a very narrow field of view and kind of dart around. Your brain takes all of the images and stitches them together and fills in some of the gaps. I wonder if it has something to do with that.
I believe you. I wear glasses. And this has happened to me numerous times randomly. I'll forget my glasses and be outside looking at things I cannot normally see. Then suddenly my vision will snap back to being poor. It's so weird. It's like there is some natural mechanism that could possibly correct poor vision, but we haven't figured it out, or it is random.
Whoever programs you must have jumped ahead assuming you would put yourself glasses on and when you realized, turned your vision off again.
Haha, this reminds me of when I was a child. I used to think there were little sink gnomes that were in charge of the water. In my home country we had no hot running water. They would precisely look out to see which handle I was using and pour in hot or cold water. Sometimes they weren't on top of their game, and it would take a few seconds for the water to heat up. I even tried to trick them by changing it quickly.
The same thing happened to me years ago. So weird. Like you. My eyesight is pretty terrible. I reflexively reach for my glasses when I wake up. This one time I woke up and sat up and looked at the clock. For a split second it was clear. And it was like at the same moment I registered it was clear, I also registered that it was clear, and then it went blurry.
Holy poop. This happened to me the other day. But I honestly thought I was just mistaken. My eyesight is just like yours. So I was sitting at the computer and put my glasses on top of my head to read something on my phone. The dog was trying to walk around the side of the table, but I'd forgotten to push a chair in. So I got up, walked around, and pushed it in. I could see clearly, as if I had my contacts in. It wasn't until I sat down and realized that I couldn't see the computer screen clearly that I remembered my glasses on top of my head. I just sat there for several seconds trying to figure out what had just happened.
Something similar happened to me but with my contacts. My vision isn't too bad, so it is probably more explainable than you. But my contacts were burning my eyes one time. And so I took them out. And I was rubbing my eyes, and suddenly my vision was the exact same as it was when I had my contacts in. I think there is a scientific explanation for it. But it is so weird I was seriously tripping out too. My vision stayed clear the whole day, but when I woke up the next day it was back to crap. I thought some miracle had happened to me, but no, unfortunately.
Might want to get checked for like glaucoma or brain swelling. That could actually fix your eyesight briefly or temporarily.
It could be the way the light reflected off the window and into your eye. Actually, there is a reason. And a way to improve it. There are eye exercises you can do. I tried it when I was teen. And it fought slightly better, but I wasn't determined enough to continue it because my eyesight is not that bad. However, at my consultation the doctor said it was weird how my eyes were focusing. So I think you could give it a try.
Inversion disorder. You know what? Maybe you should go get hypnotherapy. If your mind-brain connection is this strong you may be able to heal your eyes. It sounds nuts. But hypnotherapy has done a lot of things I thought was nuts and impossible, like stopping hearts, stopping blood flow to limbs being amputated, and so on. I studied it but not clinical hypnotherapy. Though to be honest I think you would want someone who studied hypnotherapy both ways.
Something similar happened to me. But not as bizarre as your experience. Yours was more a glitch, and mine was more of an update or something. I had terrible eyesight as a kid and was told that I would need glasses for the rest of my life. And since my dad also had bad eyesight, he made sure wore my glasses all the time. He passed away in 2013, and I stopped wearing my glasses entirely. With the grief, I didn't notice it at first, but once I did, I went to the eye doctor to get new glasses. The doc told me my vision is perfect now. It could have been that I just wore my glasses enough, and it naturally got better over time, but it's kind of a weird coincidence. It's just funny to tell people that I used to actually need glasses, forgot to use them, and now my sight is perfect.
So I have astigmatism. Both eyes are blurry all the time. Near far does not matter. However, in 7th grade a boy broke up with me because of my glasses. I refused to wear my glasses as it made me ugly. For 2 straight weeks I went to school unable to see. Then I could see. It's been 20 years since then and I still do not wear glasses. Eye doctors have told me this is not possible. That astigmatism only gets worse as you grow, although I no longer have it in my right eye. They aren't sure what happened honestly. My point is that the brain is capable of more than we give it credit for. Perhaps because it hadn't crossed your mind that you couldn't, you just did.
I remember going for a contact lens checkup. And my astigmatism had corrected itself, so I no longer needed toric lenses. The optician was so surprised. He followed me into the next room for my glasses eye test and said something quietly to the next optician. When his results also showed my astigmatism had gone, I had 2 very surprised opticians. Several years later and at my latest eye tests they found my astigmatism is back, although my distance vision has improved.
Someone mentioned suspending disbelief. Well, regarding belief, I would check out our Neville guard. You genuinely thought your glasses were still on until you knew they weren't. A few years ago I accidentally dropped my prescriptions in a dam while fishing. Never got them replaced. To this day I've never needed them again. Edit, grammar lol. This has happened to me a few times. It's like the moment I realize it fades.
I am that blind as well.
Hi, that blind as well. I am Dad. Happens to me a little. My eyesight is only a little bit off. Like 1/75 on my contacts. I could drive without them if needed. But I do not usually do that. But late at night, or in the early morning, I'll often forget if I have them in or not. And I look at the corners of my room to confirm. But then, it is not clear. It looks blurry, even if I have them in. Or it looks perfectly clear even if I do not have them in. Keep in mind that sightedness usually depends on your actual eye shape. And can change if you are pushing a muscle in a certain way. So like, if you are pushing your retinas forward or back unconsciously, suddenly things might seem more clear. This happens in everyday use, when people squint to see something a little better. It is because they are very slightly pushing the front of their eyes backwards, thereby shortening the focal length from their lens at the front of the eye to the retina.
Sweet. You can bring that back. I had to wear glasses during most of my childhood and young adulthood. Now I do not need them.
So this is all scenery you've seen before though, right? Local trip. Your brain just used previous data from the area to fill in the blurry. And make it look like you're used to seeing with glasses on because it believed it should be seen better. Or whatever. I am a physicist. Not a Dr. Lowell.
To which side did you turn to look at your brother? The atlas. First cervical vertebra. Bone could have derotated when you turned to look at your brother. We've seen crazier things in chiropractic after an adjustment.
Any chance you have an astigmatism? Sometimes my vision will fix itself for like 3 minutes. I asked my eye doctor, and he said it is not uncommon with astigmatisms for the eye to be able to focus for short periods of time. That is a very dumbed down answer to the scientific answer he gave me.
Hi, any chance you have an astigmatism? Sometimes my vision will fix itself for like 3 minutes. I asked my eye doctor, and he said it is not uncommon with astigmatisms for the eye to be able to focus for short periods of time. That is a very dumbed down answer to the scientific answer he gave me. I am Dad. This happened to me a few times too. My eyesight is not terrible. But the difference was pretty crazy. I have no explanation for it.